Alright, guys, so this is another... Well, the next two Patreon requests you're going to see come from my good friend Jason Voorhees 2011, who asked me to do some, I guess you could say, Moon Knight-centric videos. Yeah, he asked me to do some Moon Knight-centric requests for his Patreon requests, and yeah, as always, if you would like to have a request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, and hit the 4th tier, where not only you'll be able to see... send me requests, excuse me. You'll not only be able to send me requests, but also check out the exclusive content over on Patreon as well. The exclusive videos, I mean. Anyway, so our first video of them, like I said, they're both Moon Knight-centric. I kind of got a theme here. So for this, Jason asked me to do, for one of the videos, a more or less, as you can see, a 3-way crossover between Moon Knight, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Sailor Moon. Yeah, 3-way crossover between Moon Knight, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Sailor Moon. Yep, this is gonna be an interesting one. So our story begins with a dig in Cairo. There's a dig going on in Cairo, and it's funded by Seto Kaiba. Essentially, he's funding it because he believes this tomb they've discovered is connected to Atem, Yami, and he's trying to dig up anything he can on the pharaoh and kind of figure out more about what his deal is. So it's then discovered during all these hieroglyphs, like among all these hieroglyphs, that when they find this tomb and find all the hieroglyphs, there's like images of the pharaoh alongside what looks like a woman wearing white, battling a white-clad being. So, of course, this hits the news. This obviously is reached out in Japan, and in Domino City, Yugi and his friends are like, "Oh, wow, that's really crazy. How does that even work? Like, how does that even work? Like, and who's the other person in white? And also, did Yami ever talk about that? Like, did he even know about that?" And Yami, like, Yugi's talking to Yami about this, and Yami's just like, I don't remember jack shit about my life, so this is news to me. Maybe, and Yugi's like, maybe we can go and see what this is. And he's like, maybe we can bug Kaiba enough, and it's probably what he wanted anyway, for us to goad us into going to Egypt anyway. So let's go. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, you have the Sailor Senshi with Usagi and all of them watching the news as well, and Usagi's watching this and immediately recognizes the woman in white, and that's Queen Serenity. That's her mother from her past life. So she's like, "What's an image of my mother doing on ancient Egyptian tombs? Like, what's her image doing there, along with this pharaoh with some crazy ass hair?" And Luna basically tells her, "Look, your mother, like, there's some shit I didn't know your mother did, and there was a conflict between the Earth and the Moon, and Egypt was in the hot spot of that conflict. But yeah, she never told me a lot of the stuff of whenever she traveled down to Earth." So yeah, so the wanting to learn more, Usagi and the others agree to go to Egypt. Excuse me. It's been a long day at work. I'm sorry. To go to Egypt to also figure out what this deal is. Meanwhile, not in Japan, but in New York City, Mark Spector gets a visit from Khonshu, and he's like, "What do you want, man?" And Khonshu's like, "Hey, so a dig site just got disturbed, and it's got some really... It kind of exposes some shady shit we did in ancient Egypt. I'm gonna need you to leave no witnesses." And Moon Knight's like, I'm not a murderer." And he's like, "No, but you were a mercenary, Mark. Figured this would be right up your alley. Going right back to Egypt, killing some people, or at the very least, blow up, destroy the tomb." And he's like, "What's in the tomb?" And he's like, just go." Khonshu's like, "Just go, man." So Moon Knight travels there as well. So we have all three parties headed towards Egypt. So Yugi and the crew like Yugi, Joey, all of them, they all reach there first. Meanwhile, Usagi and the others follow closely behind, and they're while Yugi and the others kind of get a tour, with the dig group, the archaeologists who are there. They basically tell them, like, hey, you're friends of Mr. Kaiba, and they even make a note, like, hey, Mr. Moto, you look a lot like, is it funny that you look a lot like the pharaoh in that tomb? And he's like, oh, yeah, totally. It's so weird. Like, hair, it's crazy, right? And he's like, yeah, crazy. So they get a tour, while as the sailor Senshi have to... they have to sneak their ass around, as does Moon Knight. But Mark Spector's kind of just waiting until dark to sabotage the entire tomb. But at the same time, he's also curious as to why his master... why his god wants him to sabotage this tomb, and he's like, I know I shouldn't question my god, but like at the same time, fuck him. Yeah. So Mark Spector decides to sneak around at night, but at the same time, the Sailor Guardians are also like, yeah, let's wait until dark to not disturb anyone, even though, like, Sailor Venus brings up the point, like, we're known superheroes, we can just go the fuck in, right? Like, people know who we are, like, we're the Sailor goddamn Guardians. We can just waltz in. And Usagi goes, that's a good point. So Usagi agrees, like, maybe we should just go in and introduce ourselves, maybe figure things out. And while this is going on, Yugi and his friends are with the archaeologists, and they're basically telling, well, we haven't really discerned much from this tomb, but what we do know is that from these walls, it says that the pharaoh, whose name's been carved, the unknown pharaoh, as they call him, because they can't discern the name, because obviously we can't mess with continuity here, and a queen of the moon fought together to fight a fallen god. They were fighting together, they fought a fallen god, and they were temporary allies because of this. So at this point, one of the archaeologist teammates arrive and like, hey, boss, yeah, the Sailor fucking Guardians are here. They want to see the tomb? Do we let them? And he's like, sure. And they even make the point of, hey, isn't it funny? Like, Joey actually points this out. It's like, hey, Yug, ain't it funny that pharaoh that looks like Yami also is teaming up with someone who looks like that Sailor Moon chick, and now they're showing up? Ain't that just a little coincidental? That's my best Joey you got. I'm terrible at impressions. So, yeah, and Yugi's like, huh, hey, Yami, do you know anything about this? He's like, nope, still don't know jack shit. And he's like, figures. So, by this point, Moon Knight's like, fuck. Now I have to fight these fucking Sailor Guardians too? Fuck me. But what was it about? Like, he was sneaking around in the tomb, and he's like, what was that about fallen god? Fighting a fallen god? So, Moon Knight, who is more of an expert of reading hieroglyphics thanks to Khonshu's teachings, he's like reading them, and he's like, he finds out that Khonshu, the god of the moon, lived and existed there, and also had to coexist with the people with the Moon Kingdom. However, the Moon Kingdom turned on him. Like, they were the original worshippers of Khonshu. Like, they were the OG, like, Khonshu breathed life into the Moon Kingdom, and they worshipped him until Queen Serenity showed up and decided, nah, there ain't gonna be no more gods, and kicked him off the planet. And Khonshu ran back to Egypt to go find his other gods, like, to go rally the other gods and take back his kingdom, because he's like, ain't no mortal taking my shit. So, however, Serenity thought of this, went down to Earth, and was like, hey, Pharaoh Atem, I'm Serenity, there's this god, one of your gods, he's gone rogue and is attacking my people, and he told me he's gonna come after you. Yeah, he's gonna get after you. And Atem was like, shit, that sucks, let's team up and fight him. So Serenity and Atem Serenity lied to Atem to attack Khonshu and drive him away from the moon forever. So now Atem just is like, fuck, I guess I live in the Egyptian pantheon now, fuck me, I guess. And Moon Knight's like, wow, you're not the bad guy here? And Khonshu's like, what the hell do you mean? He's like, you're usually the bad guy in most of these situations. You're kind of a dick. And he's like, and Khonshu's like, this is true, but this time I swear I'm the victim. So at this point, while he's wrapped up in this story and also talking to Khonshu, the Sailor Guardians and Yugi and the crew show back up, and they're like, who the fuck are you? And Moon Knight's like, oh, I'm Moon Knight. And of course, Teia's like, wait, Moon Knight? That crazy guy from America? He's like, why does everyone... Moon Knight's like, why the fuck does everyone go, oh, the crazy guy from America? I'm not crazy. Okay, maybe I am. I shut up. Random bullshit, go. So Moon Knight has to get into a fight with all of them. And at the same time, he tells Usagi straight to her face, hey, Sailor Moon, your mother, or what I assume is either you or your mother, or like a descendant or whether, because he doesn't know about the whole lineage of the Moon Kingdom. He's like, listen, you guys serve the Moon Kingdom. That was a lie. Like, your queen, Serenity, turned on my god after he gave them life. And then you stabbed him in the back. And she's like, that's not true. Like, that cannot... Like, my mother would never do that. She was so kind. He's like, yeah, kind people do dark shit sometimes. So, just saying. So, Moon Knight even reads it out. And Atem's like, oh shit, he's... Because at this point, Yugi's turned into Atem. Because, yeah, why not? We're already in the danger zone with a crazy guy who worships a moon god. And Atem's like backing up what Moon Knight says, and he's like, look, Serenity, you Sailor Moon, I'm sorry, but this is true. I was duped by your mother. And he's like remembering all this. He's like, oh my god, I was duped into fighting one of my own gods. And then Atem then goes on to be like, maybe this is why the gods didn't intervene when I battled Seto and my uncle and Bakura and all of them. They didn't intervene because I attacked one of their own. Like, they didn't help me. Like, they abandoned me for good reason. So Serenity's like, holy shit, my whole life has been a lie. And Moon Knight's like, oh, trust me, I got 10 things more on you. So just saying. So Serenity kind of leaves with kind of like her faith in her mother kind of shaken on this. But then she's like, all right, I'm going to go talk directly to her. So with Luna's help, she goes back to the Moon Kingdom and talks to like the last remnants of her mother. And her mother goes, yeah, I did turn on I did betray Khonshu, but the reason being is because I felt like we didn't need a god anymore. We were our own free people. Khonshu wanted us to keep worshiping him because he's an asshole. And Mark's in the background like, yeah, that sounds about right. But like Serenity tells them, I pleaded with Khonshu to just let us go so he could, because he had followers on Earth. He didn't need us anymore. But he didn't want to let us go because he thought we were his property. And Moon Knight's just like, oh, fuck me, this is some real bullshit right now. And he's like, Khonshu's like there too in his head, and he's like, just when I thought I was going to, just the one time I thought you were innocent. Figures. So by the end of it, everyone leaves, and it's once again Moon Knight who's like, fucking Khonshu, man. Anyway. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much for this crossover. You guys tell me in the comments below. What did you guys think of this crossover? Like it? Hate it? Really curious to see what you guys have to say. And like I said, I'd like to thank Jason Voorhees 2011 for this. And stay tuned because the next video is also from him. Another Moon Knight-centric story. And yes, I will be getting to that subject today. Don't worry. So other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.